Greetings of the day, dear children. Today we are going to learn one of the lesson from the moments. That is the first lesson, The Lost Child, which is written by Mulkraj Anand. Mulkraj Anand was an Indian writer. He was born in 1905 and he died on 2004, 28th September. He was a companion of Gandhiji as well as he called Dickens of India. And he wrote his autobiography in 7 volumes. As well as he was a very good novelist and the journalist also. Along with this, he was a very good writer. So this Mulkraj Anand, he written this lost child on the basis of the child's love towards to the parents. Before thinking about the lesson, we have to think about what is the summary of this story. The summary of this story is like this: the child, once he went with his parents to the fair, and he asked some more things which is related to his needs. His needs, it means either a toy or a balloon or a sweets or anything. That is the need for the child. The child, he usually asks everything. The parents, they used to refuse that. After some time, he lost his parents. He searched everywhere, but he didn't get his parents. What happened in the next, we can learn through the lesson. The lost child. A child goes to a fair with his parents. He is happy and excited and wants the sweets and toys displayed there. But his parents don't buy them for him. Why then? Does he refuse when someone else offers them to him? It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. One little boy ran between his father's legs, brimming over with life and laughter. It was a festival of spring. Usually, the spring season is very famous for the festivals. Uh, Either a car festival or a fair or anything. If the fair is the any festival is there, then the people, they are ready to join there and they are ready to make a circle and to talk more and more and all these. As well as we can see this merry-go-round and the balloon seller, and then the people, how they will go, just like the village people, they used to go like this through the horses or bullock cart, or some they are ready to move through the walking. Here the story is related to this little cute kid. That was the spring season. From the wintry shades. Here the wintry shades, it means uh, the beginning of the spring. It shows about the end of the winter season. Of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. Each and every road is filled with the human beings, those who wore on the new clothes, and they are looking very nice. How they reach the festival? Either the walking or rode on the horses, or other sides being carried the bamboo, a bullock carts, and the one a small kid. This kid, he used to go with his father and mother. See that the affection between the mother and this child. "Come, child, come," called his parents as he lagged behind. fascinated by the toys in the shops that lined the way. That is the tendency of the children. If they see anything on the road, either a toy or a balloon or a good colorful cloth, they are usually they stand in front of the mm, shop and they used to watch everything. They are ready to feel like that, yeah, this is my shop. So here lagged behind it means he was little back. The parents they moved forward, the boy was just behind of the parent. Fascinated by the toys. Fascinated it means attracted. Attracted by the toys. He hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call, his eyes still lingering on the receding toys. As he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress the desire of his heart, even though he well knew the old cold stare of refusal in their eyes. Yes, the boy he knows, the child he knows about his parents. He completely attracted the colorful toy, but he had a little fear on his parents. If I ask, maybe they are ready to refuse to purchase or refuse to buy it. Anyway, he thought about that. Yeah, I have a dareness with myself. I have to ask. I want that toy. He pleaded. Pleaded it means here requested. He requested his parents, Mama, Papa, I want that toy. His father looked at him red eyed in his familiar tyrant's way. His mother, melted by the free spirit of the day, was tender and giving him her finger to hold, said, look, child, what is before you? When he asked, on that time, his father stared through his red eyed. Red eyed means here showed his angriness. In his familiar tyrant's way. Tyrant it means a dictator. The father, his eyes just looking like a tyrant's way. His red eye, it shows about that I have a dictatorship with myself. The boy's thinking is like that. The child's thinking is like that. But his mother, it is very difficult for her to refuse. So that she wanted to change his mood from that place or she wanted to grab the attention from that place to another place so that she told, look, child, something is before you. It was flowering mustard field, pale like melting gold as it swept across miles and miles for even land. She showed a land, mustard field, which filled with flowers. A group of dragonflies were bustling about on their gaudy purple wings, intercepting the flight of a lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. The child followed them in the air with his gaze, till one of them would still its wings and rest, and he would try to catch it, but it would go fluttering, flapping up into the air. When he had almost caught it in his hands, then his mother gave a cautionary call. Come, child, come, come on to the footpath. When he was entered to this mustard field, on that time he found the dragonflies and the butterfly or a black bee. All these he had seen as well as he attracted towards these creatures. He enjoyed its flapping and fluttering up into the air. He is ready to catch that bee or that creature on that time. That creature, it was escaped from his hands. He tried more and more, more and more. At that time, when he get failed, or at that time, his mother called him, "Come, child, come on the footpath," because they are moving towards to the fair. So that she called, "We have an urgency to go there. Should not waste the time." Just her intention is to change his mood from the toy to the some other thing.
He ran towards his parents gaily and walked abreast of them for a while, being, however, soon left behind, attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. He ran towards his parents gaily. Gaily, it means here uh, happily. He joined with his parents happily and walked abreast of them. Abreast, it means along of them for a while. Being, however, soon left behind, even though this is the tendency of the child, uh, he had seen some more things in that field, so that soon he left behind. What he attracted? He attracted by the little insects and the worms along the footpath that they were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. These creatures, they came out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. Come, child, come. His parents called from the shade of a grove where they had seated themselves on the edge of a well. He ran towards them. His parents called him, "Come, child, come." His parents called from the shade of a grove. Grove, it means trees. Trees where they had seated themselves. They sat. The little boy was enjoying with himself with the worms and the insects and the butterflies and all these things. They want to take rest in that time, so that they had seated themselves under the trees. Grove means here trees. He ran towards them. Later, he also joined with them. A shower of young flowers fell upon the child as he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals in his hands. But lo, he heard the cooing sound of doves and ran towards his parents, shouting, "The dove, the dove!" The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hand. The shower of young flowers, where the parents they sat in under that the parents sat under the tree, and the child also joined with them. The shower of young flowers fell upon the child. That was the season of spring, so that on that time, the spring season, the trees they are filled with the flowers and all these things. The flower petals they fell down on the child. He entered the grove. When he entered the tree lanes on that time, and then he forgetting his parent by seeing the nature, and he began gather the raining petals on his hands. He collected the petals of the flower. Later he listened the sound of the cooing sound of doves. Doves, it means a white pigeon. Doves, and he ran towards the parents, and he wanted to show the parents that is the dove is there. Unfortunately, the raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. He enjoyed this dove's entry very well. "Come, child, come," they called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers around the banyan tree, and gathering him up, they took the narrow, winding footpath which led to the fair through the mustard field. Later, the parents once again they called the child to come, and we have to move to the fair. So now it is began to late. As they neared the village, the child
could see many other footpaths full of thongs, converging to the whirlpool of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. While he was coming, on that time he saw some more insects as well as the mustard fields and then dough and all these things. But now he's thinking about that where I entered. So he thought about that many other footpaths full of thongs and converging the whirlpool of the fair. The fair, it is looking like just a court. He saw the people, they gathered just like a court, and he felt at once he repelled, fascinated by the confusion the world he was entering. He was attracted to the gathering of the crowd as well as he had a confusion where I entered. So that mm, he thought about that. Oh, somewhere I have already entered. So thongs it means here related to the huge crowd. Thongs it means here huge cloud. This huge crowd is converging to the whirlpool. Converging to the whirlpool, it means here the gathering just like a coiled way. So he showed his repelled. Repelled, it means with the fear as well as fascinated. Fascinated, it means with the fear and the attraction. It made him to get a confusion where I am. The sweetmeat seller hawked gulab jamun, a rasgulla, burfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets decorated with leaves of silver and gold. The child stayed open eyed, and his mouth watered for the burfi that was his favorite sweet. I want that burfi. He slowly murmured, but he half knew as he begged that the plea would not be heeded because his parents would say he was greedy. So, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. The boy was completely confused in a way, as well as when he saw the sweetmeat seller who shouted. Hogded means who shouted. Gulab jamun, rasgulla, burfi, and jalebi. It attracted the child in a good manner. Good manner it means he attracted because the children usually they love the sweets more and more. When he entered, he saw the sweetmeat seller as well as the crowd is also pressed round his counter. Pressed round this sweetmeat seller's counter and the fort and architecture where we can see the architecture while we are constructing the building. On that time we can see the same way the sweet seller he also kept the sweets in architecture manner that for the sake of the attraction of the persons. The child stayed open eyed. Till today, he didn't see all these things. So that he was attracted as well as he opened mouth. Just he opened his eyes and his mouth with water. He had seen the this one it means here the sweet meat seller's architecture of the sweet. On that time, he was thinking about that I have to eat all these sweets. I need all these sweets to eat. Even though just he murmured himself about his favorite sweet, that is a burfi. I want that burfi. He slowly murmured. But his parents, he know about that. His parents are ready to refuse that. They are not ready to agree with his request also. Without waiting any answer from his parents, he moved with them. A flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped and half murmured, I want that garland. But he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers because they would say that they were cheap. So without waiting for answer, he moved on. The second time also, first time he was attracted with the sweet meat seller, but now he attracted with the flower seller. He also started to shout, a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The gulmohar is a type of a flower which attract the each and every person in this world. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. The child, he was, he did some, given us some attention to this garland, and he thought that I need that gulmohar. At his attention, it is already grabbed by the flower seller. So he went towards the basket and he saw the colorful flowers in that. But he knew his parents very well. The parents are ready to refuse that. Even though he murmured once again with himself, I want that garland. Without waiting the answer, he moved on. A man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, and purple balloons flying from it. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. But he well knew his parents would never buy him a balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. So he walked on further. The third thing is related to the balloon seller. A man who was holding a pole with yellow, green, red, and purple balloons, a colorful balloons. It attracted to the person, to the child. So the child, he saw that the balloons, and he felt that it's a rainbow glory of the silken colors. He felt that I'm feeling that this balloons are looking like a rainbow glory. He was filled with overwhelming. Overwhelming. It means a very strong emotion to get. A very strong emotion to get the balloons by the mm, boy, and he know about that. His parents are not ready to agree with him to buy the balloons, as well as they are ready to tell that he was too old to play with such a toy. So he walked on further. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to the snake, which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such chords, music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. The fourth attraction is related to the snake charmer. The snake charmer in the fair, these are all the things it is in the fair. Okay. The snake charmer stood playing a graceful bend like a neck, playing a flute. He was playing a flute to the snake, and which has you know about the snake and its work. The snake usually it is considered as a great creature in this world. So, how it is ready to sleep itself, it means, or to sit itself, it means, with the coiled manner. So in the basket, it sat, which is in the coiled. It means in a ring, just like a spring. How you know about that spring. The same way it has also sat inside the basket. While listening the flute sound, the snake it started to raised its head and bent its neck just like a swan. This music is very invisible ears, just like a gentle rippling and invisible waterfall. The music it is ready to store or catch everyone's attention. The same way it attracted the snake also, and by seeing this, the boy is also attracted. The child went towards the snake's charmer, but he knew his parents. They had forbidden. They had forbidden him to hear such course. Course forbidden. It means here not allowed. They are not allowed him to hear such course. Coarse. Course is different from coarse. Coarse is a unpleasant music. Course, it is related to the academic. Okay. And the music as the snake charmer played. They are not ready to agree with him to listen, agree with him to go there and to meet the snake charmer to see the action of the snake. He proceeded further. Further, it means he moved forward. There was a round about in full swing. Men and women and children carried away in the whirling motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout, please, father, mother. Lastly, he saw the roundabout, merry-go-round, roundabout with the full swing he had already seen. He attracted with all these. Along with this, he has most attracted with the roundabout. With the full he swing. Men, women, and the children they carried away with the whirling motion. They are carried with a whirling motion. As well as they shrieked. Shrieked it means shouted. And cried with a dizzy laughter. Dizzy it means here chuckle. With a chuckle laughter, loud laughter. The child he was completely attracted by this roundabout. So he intently uh, told to his uh, father and the mother. Intently it means with the earnest and eager attention. To grab his parents' attention, he made the bold request. Till here he was afraid maybe the parents they are not ready to agree with him. But now his request is completely bold. He told, I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother, please give me permission to play that. There was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there. Ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. Just he asked his parents. He thought that he was with his parents. So that he asked his parents, I want to go there. Please give me a permission. But he didn't get any reply. So he told to look at his parents here and there. He searched here and there, even though he didn't get his parents. A full of deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear. Mother, father, Tears rolled down from his eyes, hot and fierce. His flushed face was convulsed with fear. Panic stricken, he ran to one side first, then to the other, hither and thither, in all directions, knowing not where to go. Mother, father, he wailed. His yellow turban came untied and his clothes became muddy. When he didn't get the sign of the parents, he started to cry more and more. So his deep cry rose within his dirty, dry throat. He was continuously cried for his father and the mother. Then suddenly his body it became jerk and he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear. Maybe he thought that father and the mother they are playing the hide and seek so that they didn't see him. But later, 5 minutes later, he didn't get his parents. So so he started to crying in a real fear. Father and mother. He searched hither and thither, here and there. In all direction he ran and he cried, but he didn't get his parents. His yellow turban, his yellow cloth, it became untied, and his clothes became muddy. He sat on the floor and he cried. He rolled on the muddy earth, even though he didn't get his parents. Having run to and fro in a rage of running for a while, he stood defeated, his cries suppressed into sobs. At little distances on the green grass, he could see through his filmy eyes men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow cloths, but sorry. Patches of bright yellow clouds, but there was no sign of his father and the mother. Among these people who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking, he was in a mm, crying mode as well as he was in his crying. It turned into the sobs so that he was completely depressed without getting his parents. But when he saw through the filmy eyes means filled with tears, the eyes which filled with tears. He saw the people. He searched everywhere, the parents, as well as he saw the people. They are talking. They are mm, laughing in a different way. All these people, they are looking just like a devil for him. He's thinking about that. These people, why these people are standing here and laughing and talking? No one is ready to listen my words. No one is ready to console me. He ran quickly again, this time to shrine to which people seemed to be crowding. Every little inch of the space here was congested with men, but he ran to the people's legs, his little sob lingering. Mother, father, near the entrance to the temple. However, the crowd became very thick. Men jostled each other. Heavy man with flashing, murderous eyes and hefty shoulders. The poor child struggled to thrust away between their feet, but knocked to and fro by their brutal movements. He might have been trampled underfoot. Had he not shrieked at the highest pitch of his voice, "Father, mother," a man in the surging crowd heard his cry and, stopping, surging crowd heard his cry and, stooping with great difficulty, lifted him up in his arms. He went here and there. He searched his parents everywhere, inside the crowd also. He entered inside the crowd and he cried more and more, even though he didn't get any man. Shrine means here the temple, filled with the crowd. The temple, which is in front of the temple, which filled with the crowd. It was completely congested for him. Each and every person's jostled means here the push, they are pushing everyone, and they just imagine that the car festival of Marikamba, the same way here the fair which is in that place in front of the temple, everyone is pushing each other, and the crowd is just like we can give an example of the waves of the sea. The same way, the people also pushing each other. But he didn't get anyone. In between, he cried more and more, more and more. No one listened. Particularly, we are thanking the God. One person, he heard the crying of the person, the crying of the child, and then he is a man who is surging crowd, was surging powerful, who had in that powerful crowd also, that person, he heard the cry of the boy, and then stooping with a great difficulty bent forward. Stooping, it means bent forward with a complete difficulty. In that time he lifted that child in his arms. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked. As he steered clear of the mass, the child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man, he asked, "Who are you and whose baby you are?" But the boy is not ready to give any answer, only the thing he told, "I want my mother, I want my father." So sorry. Mm. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked the question, even though the boy, he didn't give any answer, and he cleared the he steered clear the mass. Steered means he entered. He entered in that uh, crowd. Mass, it means here the crowd, and he asked these questions to the boy who was in his arm. But he didn't give any answer. He told that, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man tried to soothe him. Soothe, it means to console him by taking him to the roundabout. Yeah, he merry-go-round. He went there and he showed all these merry-go-round and some more places. He went there and he wanted to console that child. "Will you have a ride on the horse?" he gently asked. He asked him for the sake of the consoling, "Are you ready to ride the horse?" Approach the ring. The child's throat tore into a thousand shrill sobs, and he only shouted. He shouted with how much he had energy. By that, he started to shout like that, "I want my mother, I want my father." So, this is the faith. And here, see the crowd of this, just like this crowd is completely, this place is completely filled with the people. As well as see here, this is the boy who is crying more and more, who lost his parents, as well as here the person or the man who had ready to console this child. The man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute to the swaying cobra. Listen to that nice music, child, he pleaded, but the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted his double pitched scream, I want my mother, I want my father. The man took him near the balloons, thinking the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and quieten him. Would you like a rainbow colored balloon? He perseviously asked. The child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and just sobbed, I want my father, I want my father, I want my mother. The boy is also not ready to listen the words of this person, as well as he every time the man tried to console the person, console the child started to shout like that, I want my mother, I want my father. The man, still trying to make the child happy, bore him to the gate where the flower seller sat. Look, can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put round your neck? The child turned his nose away from the basket and retreated his sob. I want my father, I want my mother. Thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift of sweets, the man took him to the counter of the sweet shop. What sweets would you like, child? He asked. The child turned his face from the sweet shop and only sobbed, I want my mother, I want my father. Finally, the person, he tried more and more to console the child by showing the snake charmer, by showing the garland of the flower, as well as the last trying is related to the sweet shop. He came near to the sweet counter and he asked the child that what sweet would you like. The child turned his face. Before that, he wanted all these things when he was with his parents, but now he doesn't have any interest to get all these. Either he doesn't have any interest to stay in the faith without his parents. So he told like that only the thing I want my father, I want my mother. That's all. So the